Good morning, everyone. It is 9:30. However, at the current state, we do not have a quorum. We're going to just delay just a few more minutes, see if another member can join us. So we can actually do business this morning. So hang tight. We should be starting momentarily.
Just as Josh sits down. Welcome to the January 20th meeting of the Subdivision and Utility Advisory Committee. As you can tell, I'm not Bill Johnson, I'm Bob Duell. So bear with me, and we'll start with public hearing announcements.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita-Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. Copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure, and Planning Department staff reports on all agenda items are available on the counter in the lobby. The Planning Commission's bylaws limit the applicant of a subdivision application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that item, plus up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the Commission may extend these times by a majority vote. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Bill Johnson is absent. Tony Zimbelman. Here. Bob Duell.
Here.
Jocelyn Klontz is absent. Josh Blick. Here. Bob Aldridge.
Here.
John Williams Bay is absent. I show 4 members present, sir, and 3 members absent, and I do not see either of the alternates.
Thank you. We'll hear the first case, which is sub 2024-00022, one-step final plat.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the Schumann Oak Edition. Next screen, please. Property is zoned RR residential, located on the southeast corner of West 47th Street South and South 295th Street West. Next screen, please. This is the aerial photo, and then next screen. This is the preliminary plat. This is a one-step plat for a 6-lot residential subdivision, unplatted in Sedgwick County. Go through staff comments. Item A, sanitary sewer is unavailable, and MABCD requires test for on-site sewage. Soil work will need to be completed. Item B, the site is located in Sedgwick County Rural Water District number 4, and if available, MABCD recommends connection. Item C, County Stormwater commented that a drainage plan has been received. Item D, City Stormwater Management commented drainage plan was previously submitted and revised. Item E, complete access controls are indicated on the plat with 3 40-foot openings along West 47th Street and 1 40-foot opening along South 295th Street. County Public Works states Lot 3 access opening does not meet Sedgwick County access policy. Item 4, County Public Works comments existing power line running north and south from 47th Street between lots 4 and 5 be located in a private easement and separated from the joint access easement. Item A, standard county fire comment regarding drive. And item V, proposed subdivision is outside Evergy territory and no transmission. And item W, Sedgwick County Electric Co-op has reviewed the plat and will not need to request additional easements at this time. Questions?
Are there any questions from the Utility Advisory Committee or comments?
This is Daniel Schran with Sedgwick County Public Works. We worked with the applicant regarding the access controls, and we're okay with their what they have shown here.
Any questions from the commission? Mr. Aldridge.
Is this plat, this area, this going to be annexed in the near future, City of Wichita?
I do not know. As far as I know, there's no application to annex this property. The applicant might be able to address that further if they plan on annexing.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is I'm just curious on item D, the city stormwater management. Why is the city even commenting on something that's not even going to be?
Is my understanding that anything within a mile radius of the city gets reviewed by both county stormwater and city stormwater?
If I could, sir. This one is pretty far away from the city, Greg, so I'm
Yeah.
wondering if that is a mistake on the staff report. Was it just that county stormwater looked at it instead of the city?
This is Daniel with Sedgwick County Public Works. Our stormwater engineer did review and approve it. I don't know if you guys did, so I think that might be a typo. I think that might be a county approval.
Okay. I'll have to go back to my notes. I might have inadvertently put that on there, so sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious seeing that on there, and if they don't have any, if it's out of their bailiwick, why is it even on the staff report?
Okay,
Thank you.
yep.
Any other questions from the commission? If not, we'll call on the agent or applicant to speak. Please give us your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Dan Garber with Garber Surveying Service, 2908 North Plum Street in Hutchinson, 544 West Douglas in Wichita. I'm representing the client on this Shumard Oak edition, and we're in agreement with the staff comments. I do want to address item E. Sedgwick County Public Works states Lot 3 access opening does not meet Sedgwick County access policy. And as Mr. Schrant has mentioned already, we've conversed about the opening for Lot 3. It's not 660 feet from the section corner according to policy, but there's a bridge there and floodplain. So we positioned it right at the west edge of the floodplain, and it's about 578 feet from the section corner. So we request to have the plat approved with that opening where it is. I stand for any questions.
Any questions from the commission?
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this case? Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for action.
My question for Public Works regarding the access on Lot 3, are you good with that?
I am okay with it. It's to maintain access there, and with the floodplain being where it is, it just makes sense to be where it's shown.
Okay, thank you. Having said that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve for staff recommendations and comments.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Aldridge, a second by Mr. Blick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, the next item is sub 2024-00024, one-step final plat in Fulton Subdivision located approximately at East 39th Street and South Rock Road.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. Next screen, please. Here to present the Fulton subdivision. This is a two-lot subdivision in the county, two-lot residential subdivision in the county. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. Approval of this plat will require a lot depth width ratio for Lot 2 and also a waiver from the existing sewage lagoon on proposed Lot 1. The subdivision regulations state that the gross area for proposed sewage lagoon be 5 acres. This is on 2.95 acres. The minimum for MABCD is 3 acres, but I've got confirmation from them that they are okay with the proposed 2.9 acres for the existing sewage lagoon on Lot 1. I will go through staff comments. Item A, since sewer is not available, tests will be needed for on-site sewage. Item B, currently located in rural water district number 3. MABCD recommends connection if available. Item C, City Public Works and Utilities requires a no protest agreement for future extension of sanitary sewer as a condition of which any application for sewer service waives the owner's right to protest annexation by the city of Wichita. And sanitary sewer main fee is owed when extending or connecting. Item E, county stormwater management states that the existing pond on lots 1 and 2 shall be contained within a drainage easement, and they have received a plan on 6/12/22 and 24 and have approved the plan. Item G, county public works requires that a 25 drainage and utility easement be provided along west and south property lines. Item A, standard county fire department comment regarding service drive. And item V, Evergy has reviewed the plat and will need to request additional easements at this time. Will not need to request additional easements at this time. Stand for questions.
Any questions from the Utility Advisory Committee? Comments? Do we have any questions or comments of staff from the commissioners? If not, we'll call on the agent or applicant to speak. Please give us your name and address, and you will have 10 minutes.
Todd Hornbaker with Mayor Stone Surveying. Address is 216 West Rosewood and Rose Hill. We agree with the staff comments and have made the changes and are open to any questions.
Any questions from the commission of the speaker? Not, thank you. Is there anyone from the public here that would like to speak on this case? Anyone from the public? If not, I'll bring it back to the commission for action. Discussion.
I just have a quick question for staff real fast, and maybe I just didn't see it. On item J, it says fire apparatus road. I didn't see it on there. Is there a need for that, or am I missing it?
Yeah, there's no fire apparatus road. That's a standard comment from City Fire
Okay,
that they put on for plats, just to cover just in case there is a need for one. But in this case, there is no need.
all right, thank you. I make a motion to approve with staff's recommendations.
Have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Blick, a second by Mr. Zimbelman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next item is Subdivision 2024-00028, one-step final plat, Sapphire Estates, located approximately at 143rd Street East and 69th Street North. We have a staff report, please.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the 2-lot residential Sapphire Estates located in the county. Next screen, please. Next screen. And then the next screen. As you recall from the last subdivision meeting, this was originally presented as an 8-lot subdivision, which you see on the screen in front of you. After requirement to pave some roads, they eliminated the west 6 lots with the cul-de-sac road and revised it to this 2-lot subdivision, which is presented today. Next screen, which is up on the screen with you. And it was decided because there were some outstanding issues going from the 8-lot to the 2-lot that this was plat be deferred to this meeting with this 2-lot subdivision. And the two-lot subdivision has been routed to all the departments. Go through the staff comments. Item A, MABCD requires a test for on-site sewage. Item B, located in Butler County Rural Water District Number 5, and connection is recommended. Item C, stormwater management received and revised drainage plan on 6/6/24 and has been approved. Item D, access controls are shown along North 143rd Street with one 60-foot opening for Lot 1 and one 45-foot opening for Lot 2. County Public Works approves of the access controls, but advises that a closure, guarantee a closure, be needed for the existing drive openings. A driveway closure certificate in lieu of a guarantee may be provided. Item F, standard Sedgwick County Fire Department comment regarding service drives need to comply with fire code. And item T, Evergy has reviewed the plat and it is within their El Dorado division and not Wichita, and agent will need to contact the appropriate El Dorado division managers. And Phillips 66 advises that multiple pipelines are in the area and require more data for review of the subdivision. And I have received comments from Phillips 66 that the agent has been in contact with Phillips 66 regarding the pipelines in that area. And I believe all those issues regarding pipeline easements have been addressed. Stand for questions.
Are there any comments or questions from the Utility Advisory Committee? Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Not, thank you. We'll call on the agent or applicant. Give us your name and address and you'll have 10 minutes.
Good morning, Logan Mills with Certified Engineering Design, 1935 West Maple. Agent for the applicant. We're in agreement with staff comments and I'll stand for any questions.
Are there any questions of the agent? Mr. Blick?
Have you got your wetland determination yet?
No.
Okay.
We haven't.
All right, let's just check.
Any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this case? Hearing none, we will bring it back to the commission for discussion and action.
I move for approval with staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Zimmelman, a second from Mr. Blick. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same sign, or excuse me, a nay. Motion carries. Next item is, turn the page. We have sub 2024-00024. It's a preliminary plat on Vineyard Terraces number 3, located approximately 215th Street West and 29th Street North. Call on staff for a report.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff, here to present the Vineyard Terraces 3 subdivision preliminary plat. Next screen, please. It's located in the county, RR rural residential zoning. Next screen, please. And the next screen. This is preliminary plat for a 19-lot residential subdivision in the county. The plat associated with zone case 2024-24, zone change from RR rural residential to SF20 single-family residential. Go through the waivers that are needed. The plat denotes a street stub extending to the east and south line of the plat to provide for connection with potential subdivision of unplatted property. The subdivision regulations require a temporary turnaround for street stubs greater than 150 feet. However, the county fire has only required a temporary turnaround cul-de-sacs on the middle stub street to the south and at the end of North 208th Street West. A waiver and modification will be needed from the required turnaround at the east end of West 33rd Street North and the south end of North 214th Street West. Go through staff comments. This plat subject to approval of the associated zone change. Since item B, since sewer is unavailable, MABC requires tests for on-site sewage and also advises soil works needs to be completed before a memo is issued. Item C, the property is located within Sedgwick County Rural Water District Number 4. Service is recommended for connection. If not, tests will be needed for water wells. Item D, County Stormwater Management states the applicant needs to submit a drainage plan. At the time of writing a report, a drainage plan had not been submitted. Item E, complete access controls with 170-foot opening is shown along North 215th Street West. The County Public Works approves of the access controls and requests 75-foot of access controls along 33rd Street adjacent to 215th Street. And County Public Works approves of the right-of-way dedication. And item J, County Fire requests a temporary turnaround cul-de-sacs on the middle stub street to the south and 208th Street, and states that the plat will need to comply with the service drive code. And item Z, Evergy comments that the plat is outside of their territory and no transmission area. I stand for questions.
Do we have any comments from the Utility Advisory Committee? Are there any comments or questions from the commission? Mr. Aldridge.
Yeah, but just for stormwater, has the application, any updates on the drainage plan? Has that even been submitted yet?
I thought that was submitted and approved, but that might be a question for the agent.
Okay, I'll hold my question for the agent.
Okay. Any other questions? Mr. Blick.
So item J, it says a temporary cul-de-sac. How do you build a temporary cul-de-sac?
So typically a temporary cul-de-sac will have a temporary easement at the end of the street. And then they'll build a cul-de-sac, just a normal gravel cul-de-sac. And then when an adjacent subdivision comes in, that subdivider will be responsible for taking that cul-de-sac out so that it's a normal through street going into the next subdivision.
So basically where the property line is, that's going to be the furthest south of the cul-de-sac, so it's actually going to be further up, or is it going to be past that property line where the cul-de-sac will be?
It'll be within the platted boundaries of this property.
Okay, sounds good.
Mr. Aldridge.
I've got a bit of a follow-up on that. Could this also be a candidate for a hammerhead in lieu of a cul-de-sac?
Yeah, so the service drive code, and I think it's in our subdivision guide as well, there are hammerheads that are allowed, as well as cul-de-sacs. Typically, we see cul-de-sacs.
Okay, thank you.
If there are no more questions, we'll call on the agent or applicant. Please give us your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Dan Garber with Garber Surveying, 2908 North Plum Street, Hutchinson, and 544 West Douglas in Wichita. We are in agreement with staff comments. The drainage plan, I understand, is to be submitted this next week. They're running behind, and so it should be forthcoming, I believe, next week, prior to the Planning Commission meeting. The cul-de-sacs, yes, those will be, temporary cul-de-sacs will be within the bounds of the subdivision. I'll stand for any other questions.
Do you have a comment?
I do. I just want to comment that I think it's laudable that the drainage plan is forthcoming, and thank you for the update. But I do want to emphasize that really creates a hardship for staff, because now they've got to rush to get that reviewed in order to get it in time. If this item is recommended for approval by the MAPC, it can create a hardship for staff to have to turn that around with that review. And this may or may not be the only project that comes in as a rush. So I just want to acknowledge, for the sake of County Public Works staff, that we've heard from them about the hardship that creates.
So I assume one option would be to defer this until we get a drainage plan. Is there any other questions of the agent or applicant? Yes, Bob.
Actually, I have one for Scott. If, in the event that this was approved, would that help out if it was contingent upon the drainage plan being approved, or are you still in the same boat?
I think it helps, because it at least makes sure that it's not just that staff are forced to work with a deadline. But I think what happens is that staff are so conscientious about trying not to disrupt the schedule for both the applicant and for the planning commission that they will stay late, they will work on the weekends, they will do what's needed to try and get this thing moved along. I think that hopefully, based on this conversation, staff will have a better understanding that it's not necessarily that way, that they can take the appropriate time within their work hours to get it done, but I'll defer to Public Works.
Yeah, I'd also add on, not just with this plat, but in general, if we have a drainage plan that comes through and it's approved without the drainage plan, it's moved on to MAPC, which has happened in the past. Sometimes those drainage plans require changes to the plat. For instance, if detention is needed and it's not currently shown as having any drainage reserves, which this one does not, I don't believe it has any drainage reserves where a pond could be put in, that's going to change the plat. And typically we like to have those reviewed at this level first.
Well, maybe we ought to look at just making it policy that if the drainage plan has not been submitted and approved with adequate time for staff to review, it gets deferred until that occurs.
Assistant County Counselor Samantha Seang. I just want to note that a drainage concept is needed for a preliminary plat, not necessarily a drainage plan, and that's in section 5-302D4. And this is a preliminary plat, so all we need is a drainage concept.
Well,
So what you're saying too is if you guys work on it and it could possibly change it, then when we go and receive it on MAPC, it could just be a consent, and there could be changes that are on it we don't know, possibly.
Yeah, that has occurred before. But this plat, since this is just a preliminary plat, it will be coming back to this committee in a couple weeks or maybe a month.
Yeah, Sam, thanks for that distinction and reminder that this is a preliminary plan. What Daniel said is it's not a rush to get to Planning Commission next week. This will be coming back as a final plat before it goes to Planning Commission, so there is leeway time, more time for a drainage plan to be considered.
make the motion, that's fine. Are there any other questions of the agent? Is there no questions from the Utility Advisory Committee? Okay, no more questions. Thank you, sir. We'll now ask if there's anybody from the public here that would like to speak on this case. Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for action.
Yep.
Mr. Aldridge.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the preliminary, but also contingent upon a drainage plan being submitted, of course approved. And I think we also need to allow adequate time for all staff to review before it goes to the full body MAPC. So if for some reason it doesn't happen for the next meeting and it's not, that criteria isn't met, then I think it would need to be deferred.
A question for staff, Scott. If this drainage plan is not submitted in time for notification of the next planning commission meeting, can we move it to the following meeting?
I think there's a couple things going on here. Number one, I did not pick up on that this is a preliminary plat, so my apologies. The process with the preliminary plat is that this will come back to subdivision for you all to review. So the applicant is actually, in this process, the advantage of a preliminary is that it gives them a chance to put something together kind of in draft form, get some comments on it, take those comments, and then come back later with their final plat for you all to review. So I kind of got ahead of myself, but because I'm so sensitive to the fact that we have been getting materials kind of late and we're not getting them at all. So I think we're in good shape here. The one thing that I would suggest, and with Greg over there, is that in the future, maybe we can put in a little bit different language to emphasize, at least on items that we've not received, like the drainage plan, in this case, that it's a preliminary plat and that will be required for the final plat. So maybe a little bit of a distinction on our language will help make it clear for everyone too. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will revise my motion then to approve it, unless you got any more comments?
I was just going to correct your previous motion where you were making contingent on a drainage plan. Drainage plans are not required for a preliminary plat. The drainage concept is, so I don't think we should have the drainage plan language in the notes for this one.
Okay.
Okay, now it brings up another question. You brings up another question then. The concept hasn't even been submitted, right?
The drainage concept has not been submitted.
So I'm gonna throw those back.
Correct, Dan?
Okay, I'm gonna throw those back in legal then. Where does that go if the concept of the drainage plan hasn't even been submitted? What would that do because it's still a preliminary? Is that still good, or does that create another problem?
Need somebody playing an organ back here.
Legal recommends that this matter be deferred since it's considered an incomplete application without the drainage plans.
Concept, correct?
So that is a recommendation?
Correct, concept.
It's not a requirement. It's your recommendation, is that correct?
That is my recommendation.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this is a county case, but our subdivision regulations say that if you approve a preliminary plat, it shall be approved going forward with some other conditions, but it kind of makes it difficult if you approve it when there's a required element that's not been submitted.
Okay, I will revise my motion again that this plat be deferred until the required elements, including at least the concept of the drainage plan, be submitted for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Aldrich, a second by Mr. Blick. Is there any further discussion on this? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The case is deferred. Okay, the next case is sub 2024-00031, preliminary plat for Pegasus Second Edition, located at the southwest corner of South Webb Road and East Pawnee.
Morning, Greg Sharon, planning staff. Here to present the Pegasus second edition. Oop. I'm sorry, shouldn't this be Silverleaf edition? Am I missing item number 7? Right, yeah, there should be Silverleaf. There we go. Sorry.
All right, Greg, on the agenda, it shows item number 6 as Pegasus.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I got my notes mixed up. Okay. Pegasus edition. This is, next screen, please. And next screen. This property is located within the city of Wichita. It is zoned MF18 multifamily. This is a preliminary plat for a 44-lot residential subdivision. To go through the waivers, next screen, please. Okay, go through the waivers. Subdivision regulations state for urban subdivisions, cul-de-sac shall provide with a circular turnaround right-of-way with a turn diameter of at least 70 feet and a street property line diameter of at least 100 feet. The plat denotes a hammerhead turnaround in lieu of circular turnarounds on both Goble courts. Modification will be needed to allow the platted hammerhead turnarounds with the approval of city fire department. So those hammerheads will need to meet the fire code width for hammerheads. I go through staff comments. Item A, Public Works requires sanitary sewer to be extended to all lots and blocks. Depending on how the lift station is built, sanitary sewer main acquisition fees may be due for all lots and blocks. If agreement is made, the city of Wichita is to provide this plat with water, then water lines shall be required to extend to all lots and blocks. Water acquisition fees will be due for all lots and blocks. Utility states that the plat is located within Rural Water District Number 3, and the applicant wants or needs City of Wichita water, then the applicant needs to provide a right to serve from Rural Water District Number 3. Public Works also requests a 15-foot utility easement running east and west going through Reserve A of the original Pegasus edition to allow for water lines to be connected from Southwest Webb Street to South Goble Street. Public Works Utility advises sanitary sewer main will need to be extended or lift station will need to be constructed before the plat can be served, and request a utility and sanitary sewer plan, request a utility plan with sanitary sewer depths, and additional easements may be requested once that plan has been received and reviewed. Item C, City Stormwater Management advises that drainage complex concept plan needs to be submitted with the preliminary plat. A drainage plan has not been submitted at the time of writing this report. City fire request standard, item D, standard city fire comment, and city fire department requires for development of 1 or 2 family dwellings where a number of dwelling units exceed 30 shall provide 2 separate and approved fire access roads. When city fire requires 2 apparatus access roads, they shall be placed a distance apart following code D 107.2. City fire requires the dead ends to meet hammerhead turnaround specifications for Global Court, and City Fire Department states that the preliminary plat does not meet current fire code requirements. Item E, complete access controls are indicated along South Webb Road and East Pawnee Road. Traffic engineering approves of the hammerheads, but will defer to fire department for proper sizing. Traffic engineering advises access controls and right-of-way have been previously approved and no changes have been made since the previous plat of the original Pegasus edition. Item G, standard environmental health comment regarding properly installed wells. And item U, Evergy will not need to request additional easements at this time and proposed street lighting placement to be approved by traffic engineering. I'll stand for questions, comments.
Do we have any comments from the Utility Advisory Committee?
Lee Carmichael, Traffic Engineering. I just asked that they check the spelling of Gobel. It's G-O, according to this, it's G-O-B-E-L. The Gobel Circle across the street is G-O-E-B-E-L. So I just asked that that be checked.
Good. That correction sounds correct. Any other comments from the Utility Advisory Committee? Is there any questions or comments of staff from the commission? Mr. Aldridge.
Actually, I have a couple, just based on the last case we just heard. Has the drainage plan concept been submitted as of right now?
This is Joe Hickle, City Stormwater, not to my knowledge.
Okay, and then my second question is actually relationship to GSI. Is there some sort of way they can start thinking out of the box just a little bit and not continuously be naming the streets the same name? You know, Global Court, we either know the address. I think that that would pose a problem for first responders on that, because I see it happening in other areas, let alone the Postal Service, and they need help anyway on the Postal Service. That's a comment on that, and I don't know even what the process would be to maybe get GSI to think out of the box a little bit.
Any other comments from the commission? If not, we'll call on the agent or applicant. Give us your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Good morning, Will Clevenger with Garver here on behalf of the applicant. I have reached out to the fire department and waiting to hear back from them concerning the hammerheads, although we did lay those out per the appendix noted in the staff report. So we should be good to go on that. And then there was a comment about the drainage concept. Unfortunately, no, we did not get that turned in yet. We're planning to have that ready either tomorrow or on Monday morning. We're in agreement with staff comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Is there any questions of the representative? Yes, Scott.
Sorry, I just want a clarification question. So in your discussions with the fire department, there's been no waivers or anything in writing to indicate that this plat is in compliance, fully in compliance with the fire code. Is that correct?
Correct. I have not heard back from them yet.
Any other questions of the agent? If not, we'll call on, is there anybody from the public here that would like to speak on this case? Anyone from the public? If not, we'll bring it back for action. Just a comment, it looks like this is another case that should be deferred.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I feel the same way. I'm going to make a motion that the Pegasus second edition be deferred until the drainage concept has been submitted. Also, staff brought up a question regarding a fire department approval on the hammerhead. I think that needs to additionally be looked at before this moves forward.
Scott, did you have a comment?
Yes, sir. It's really to piggyback on that motion, which is, it's staff's understanding that the subdivision regulations, you have to comply with what's in the subdivision regulations. However, there is the option for some things, there can be waivers or modifications granted by the MAPC. However, the subdivision regs also require that a plat be in compliance with other codes and regulations. And one of those, which has come up quite a bit, is the fire code. And so in instances where a plat is in conformance with the subdivision regulations, however, is not in conformance with the fire code or any other codes that are in place, staff would recommend that you not approve that. Now, this one has been deferred, so I think that provides time for the applicant to get with fire and see what they can do about getting into compliance with it. But I just want to give everyone a heads up that, hey, you got to be in compliance with these codes, otherwise we're going to have to bring it up that it should not be approved.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Aldrich, a second from Mr. Blick to defer this case. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is deferred. Okay, the next case is sub 2024-00032, preliminary plat on Silver Lake Acres, located at 45th Street North and 167th Street West.
Good morning, Great Sharon Planning staff. Now we go to Silver Leaf Acres. Next screen, please. Next screen, please. And then the next screen. This is a preliminary plat for a 27-lot residential subdivision in the county. It is designated as a small city urban growth area, and it is located within the Colwich urban area of influence. And the subdivision case, as the subdivision is associated with the case, zoning case 2024-06, zone change from RR rural residential to SF20 single family residential. Go through the waivers that will be needed. Approval of lot of this plat will require a waiver of lot to depth to width ratio for lots 4 and 5, block C. The subdivision regulations state that the maximum depth of all residential lots shall not exceed 2.5 times the width. I go through staff comments. Item A, in accordance with the urban fringe development standards, since this plat is located within the Colwich urban growth area, the subdivider shall contact the city of Colwich to determine feasibility of connecting the proposed subdivision to city facilities. If feasible, then the subdivision shall be connected to the city's sewer and or water system in accordance with that city's standards. Item B, since sanitary sewer nor municipal water is available to serve this site at this time, the applicant shall contact MABCD to find out what tests may be necessary for on-site sewage and water wells. Soil work needs to be completed before a memo is issued. Item C, County Stormwater Management states that the drainage plan has been received and is approved for this preliminary plat. Item E, County Fire standard comment regarding service drive, and County Fire requests a temporary turnaround or cul-de-sac on the east end of Silverleaf Street. Item F, the plat denotes a street stub extending to the east line of the plat to provide for connection with potential subdivision of unplatted property. The subdivision regulations require a temporary turnaround for street stubs greater than 150 feet. Therefore, a turnaround shall be provided with 40 8-foot radius of pavement with a 75-foot radius of right-of-way. Temporary cul-de-sac shall be denoted as an easement and dedicated. Item I, complete access controls with one 70-foot opening are shown along West 47th Street North and North 167th Street West. County Public Works approves of the access controls along 167th Street and 45th Street. Public Works requires 75 feet complete access control along Samar Street and Silverleaf Street adjacent to the arterials. And Public Works approves of the street stub to the east. Item J, GIS requests Silverleaf Street be changed as GIS does not like the street name to be the same as the addition name. Item K, plating of minimum building setbacks should be noted on the face of the plat drawing and referenced in the final platter's text. And item U, Evergy will need to request additional easements at this time, will not need to request additional easements at this time, and proposed street lightings need to be approved by traffic engineering. Stand for questions.
Call on the Utility Advisory Committee. You have any comments on this or questions?
No comments.
Are there any questions or comments from the commission? Seeing none, we'll call on the agent or applicant. You'll give us your name and address, and you'll have 10 minutes.
Chris Rose with Baughman Company, agent for the applicant. 315 Ellis, Wichita, Kansas 67211. The applicant agrees with staff comments except for a couple of items. One thing that we would like to add is that we're allowed to do a hammerhead or similar at the end of Silverleaf Street. There's many options that we can use. I've talked with the county about it a little bit. Still need to meet with fire, but if you look at the previous comment from fire on item E, the temporary turnaround or cul-de-sac. So we just want the option to build what we want that is approved by either the county or both the county and the fire. I think the second thing would be is the GIS on the Silverleaf street name. I believe we would prefer to keep it that way. I understand there are issues with that. They know that at some point that another developer is probably going to go in and develop somewhere in this north of 45th Street, and they like to carry the name over. And those developers usually do not like to use the development name as somebody else's development into their development, but it happens all the time now. So we would prefer to leave that as Silverleaf Street. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Chris?
Yep.
I just have a question. So on the end of that, where the cul-de-sac, I do like the idea of the hammerhead, if it's just going to be a dead end area. But now if you continue on to another subdivision to the
East.
the east of that, then you're going to have a section of, where you're going to have that hammerhead, it's just going to be dead and it's going to be a notch in. So do you guys normally fill that back in afterwards? Because it's on your guys' side, or you just leave it like that where it's open and it's in that property owner to the north and the south?
I'd probably have to defer to Daniel on that. I don't know if the last time we've had a temporary cul-de-sac that's been connected to, that's been removed. I don't know if just with the engineering project of the next development, they just go ahead and throw it in and remove it because it's only, a little bit of cost overall, the development cost, or they require this actual developer do it. But I'd have to look at the actual temporary easement and see what that language says. I know it's 2 or 3 pages maybe. There's different things. I think there's also a termination in the easement. Once the street is connected, the easement terminates, and it might have some language in there. But I can look at that document and probably have a better answer for you on the final plat.
Thank you.
In plans we've done in the past, where we've had a temporary cul-de-sac, the next subdivision has just included at their connection that the cul-de-sac comes out. We have not done this with like a T-type intersection where we have just a stub going to the north. And I know that Chris was going to talk with Chief Timmons just to make sure he's good with that. I'm happy with that type of a turnaround. One thing, a benefit to that is if it's a T-type turnaround, is people don't have the expectation that they're living on a cul-de-sac. They can more easily see that the road is going to be extended or have the ability to be extended. And their driveways are also coming in at a 90-degree angle at that point. Whereas if you have a cul-de-sac, driveways can come in at almost any angle to that cul-de-sac, and it may not be as easy to get that worked into the street when the cul-de-sac is removed.
Thank you. Any other questions of the agent? Mr. Aldrich?
Yep. Chris, on the street names, is that something that you guys come up with, or is that solely on GIS?
GIS has a manual, an address manual that's, I don't know, yay thick, let's say 20, 30 pages, I don't know, something like that, that they have, I think, if I remember this right, it came out 10, 12 years ago, maybe even more. They kind of took a national, how the whole country kind of does addresses, and probably incorporated a lot of suggestions from emergency services. I think that's why we have court, or circle, or whatever. And we come up with a name unless it lines up with a street. So I'm going to say that the Samara Street there lines up with something either north or south of this development, and that's why I named it that. Silverleaf didn't really line up with anything, so I created a name for it. That name has to be approved by a GIS. It can't rhyme with something a 9-year-old or a 6-year-old has to say it. I mean, there's so many different things in that, and as we add more street names, it makes it even harder. So when you make the suggestion that we need to name every street different, well, that creates all these new street names that I have to come up with, and makes it probably even more difficult because everything rhymes with something anymore, it seems like. So
I get what you're saying, but I can't believe that first responders are okay, because I've heard from a lot of them, and it drives them nuts. But
so when it first started, when I first got this manual, Jennifer Chambers was in the GSI. She was an emergency services dispatcher, and she was the one that really has taught me how to do this when it comes to street names and follow the manual. Her husband was a police officer in the city of Derby, so this is kind of what comes from her, and that's kind of what I've always followed. So I know at other communities, like let's say, for example, Derby, and I think maybe even some smaller ones, they name every street differently. Even their cul-de-sacs is different. And to me, that is a lot more confusing than, because I know exactly, like, for example, Eisenhower out west, because that's where I used to live when I was a kid. I know north-south, that's Eisenhower. There should be. 1 block or 2 blocks west of Hoover Road is Eisenhower. So.
Any other questions of the agent? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone from the public here that would like to speak on this case? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and action.
I move to approve with staff recommendations.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. There was a proposed waiver in this, and would you comment also, because the applicant has made 2 requests regarding the possibility of putting a hammerhead in instead of a cul-de-sac, and the other one is to go contrary to GIS and keep the names the same, so we could address that.
Yes.
Including changing the name, or leaving the name the same? Because I'm a little concerned if GIS has a requirement, you're overriding that, so.
You're referring to item J in here? Yeah. You want that as part of the motion?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
Okay, just for clarification, that is to allow the hammerhead and also to allow Silverleaf Street to remain, correct? Yes. Second.
Question. So
Yes.
When you said GIS, Jay says they just don't like it. Is it they don't want it, or they just would prefer not to?
In the staff report, it says that GIS request. Now, that's where I'm going to turn to Greg and I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, what you have in the staff report is exactly what was submitted to me as a comment. GIS requests a relief to be changed as GIS does not like the street name to be the same as the addition name. So whether that is, I do not know if that's official policy in their books, whether that's an official policy. And so I would have to confer with GIS. And I think in order, sorry, Scott has.
No, you're fine.
Nope.
I would just comment that this is a preliminary plat.
Right.
So if we do find that there is a regulation that maybe GIS did not articulate when they provided those comments, we will be sure to flag that at the next time when you see this again.
Okay, yeah, how I read it is they just didn't like it, not that it's not able to do it, so that's
And
what
I
I was
will
saying.
confer with GIS before the final plat to get what's actually required and make sure they are okay with whatever name is or not given. Thank you.
Sounds great, thank you.
I just would like to make one comment on that. As far as the hammerhead type, Public Works is okay with a hammerhead. I assume, and I think fire department will be okay with it, but they haven't verbally said they're okay with it, and that's part of their code.
So you have two items. You have both GIS. We'll find out whether or not that's required or not. And then with the fire, we'll find out if they provide approval as a fire official, which they are able to make modifications and waivers to the fire code.
So
And-
those two conditions are part of your motion?
Yes.
Okay, excuse me, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to state, because they're going potentially to the hammerhead from the circular cul-de-sac, that since that is actually stated in the subdivision regulations, that would be a waiver that would be needed to require the hammerhead turnaround. But that decision can be based when the final plat gets submitted and fire has approved the hammerhead design. So.
Very good. So we have a motion by Mr. Zimmelman, a second by Mr. Aldrich. Everyone understands the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yes, Philip.
I just want to make an announcement and a reminder that the next subdivision committee meeting is on Wednesday, July 3rd, because 2 weeks from now would be Thursday, July 4th, and that is a city holiday, city and county holiday. So the next regular scheduled meeting for the Subdivision Utility Advisory Committee is Wednesday, July 3rd. We'll send out a reminder email.
With that, we're adjourned.